Welcome back. It is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso on S3. Now, we are going to continue to celebrate women post-International Women's Day that we celebrated last week. And today we are exploring the landscape of women in the workplace. And joining us is Dr. Sylvia Sathekge, a seasoned professional with over 2 decades of experience across various industries. Dr. Sathekge, it's so great to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Doc, we're going to go TED Talk here. We're going to make you summate your entire life and business journey in just one moment, because I would imagine being a figurehead within business, you often have to encapsulate what it is that you've achieved and where you're going, which is why we brought you into this space, so that you could be that true north for so many women wanting to follow in your footsteps. But would you be able to describe to us your kind of journey? I know there have been so many high points and I'm sure challenging low points as well, but how often do you think about your journey in its entirety?
So my career journey has been driven by the fact that I like embracing technology to solve complex business problems, but also to drive growth, right? And maybe thanks to a national private-public partnership that happened in 1994, there was a project formed to introduce technology as a high school subject in South Africa. And I was fortunate to be part of that project. Wow. So I'm one of the first female who wrote technology as a matric subject in the history of South Africa. Oh. And that has led me into fascination and wanting to take up a career in IT.
It matters.
Yeah.
It matters.
IT matters, right?
IT matters. Yes, it definitely does.
So took up a career in IT, and I've gained experience across various industries. So I've worked for mining and metals, agriculture and manufacturing, aviation, auditing and tax, and in those different areas, one has gained experience, and I've learned how or what business needs to survive, and I've also then experienced some of the unconscious biases that we face as women in leadership. But having said that, it has been great. And for me, going into IT as well is one of those that is historically underrepresented by women. It still is, even today. And I think we are breaking the norm, and we are saying women can do it and women can be in IT as well.
Proving it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Proving it, bottom line, yeah.
Well, you've had a very colourful career in terms of the direction, the various fields you've worked in. And as you were mentioning all these different sectors, I was thinking, oh my goodness, those are very male-dominating fields. Yes. What were some of the challenges that you think women still face in those fields, largely being underrepresented? Yes,
I think I'll mention 3 things that I think are some of the challenges that women face in leadership roles in those fields. One being the unconscious bias. As a woman, you're often questioned, or you find yourself have to express more on, or prove, or motivate why you took certain decisions more than your male counterpart. Right? The second one being that you find yourself as a woman having no sponsorship, no mentorship, no sponsorship, no big brother vouching for you. No big brother vouching for you, and maybe being questioned, and that there is the sponsorship and the lack of mentorship puts you at the back foot than your male counterparts. So that's what I found. But I've also seen that there's great improvement. Things are changing. The fact that we're sitting here today talking about what can be done. Yeah. There is awareness and training. People are aware that we need to help women. We need to work with women, and women are equally capable. And that there is training. There are quotas, not that we push for quotas. there is legislation that is pushing for women that is helping in reducing some of the challenges that women are facing.
And hit it from all sides. That's my thinking here, is you want to push from every single direction. I think it was highlighted on International Women's Day for us, the fact that yes, it's a nice to have, and it's a great emotional context looking at the journey of where the country is going, but we're missing out on our biggest resource, i.e. the number of professional women coming out of varsity that are the most marketable and investment-worthy products here, assets to delve into. You recently did a business report on gender diversity in the senior management levels, which must have been quite interesting. What were some of the stats and findings that jumped off the page for you?
Okay. Perhaps let me give you a context about the report. Right? The report measured businesses in mid-market businesses, right? By mid-market, we mean businesses that are employing between 50 and 500 employees.
Okay.
And it looked, the survey has been running for 20 years. We're marking 20 years now. We've been tracking this as Grant Thornton. And it surveyed 28 countries. So what we found is that there is improvement. I mean, there's a good story to tell, right? In South Africa in particular, we are ahead of the global trends or global percentages in having women in leadership in mid-market businesses. So when we started tracking the report in 1992, the stats were sitting at 26% for South African women in senior leadership. Today, we are sitting at 42%.
Sure.
That's a great improvement.
That is a massive
massive improvement, and it can be celebrated. However, if we compare the growth from last year, we only grew by 1%, and that is also the case globally. So it looks like we are not focusing or putting as much efforts as we used to, and we are now growing just by 1%. And that's that will let the sunset on a glorious achievement that we've done so far.
Sure.
So we need to do more. We need to be very deliberate about it. And otherwise, our studies shows that if we are not going to be as focused as we were, we will only reach parity by 2053. That's a very long time.
Oh, that is a long time.
Think of all the lost opportunities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
2053 is a very long time.
It is. Well, Dr. Sylvia is not going anywhere, so stay tuned on your Feel Good Breakfast show. We have more to unpack.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back. Not just buzzing from all the sugar this morning, but buzzing from this conversation. We are continuing our chat on women in the workplace, a broad conversation that has taken us to some incredible points over the last week. And we are joined once again by a guiding light, Dr. Sylvia Sathekge, who has 20 years of experience across an incredibly wide range of businesses and ICT areas. And she is sharing some gems with us this morning because you've done a deep dive in the space and you get it.
Definitely. Now, Doctor, we've had, we know the statistics when it comes to that women still have a big path to carve before they get to be seen as equals in the workspace. How can we now come up with solutions? What can businesses put in place to ease that path? Because I don't think we need to wait until 2053 to make it happen.
Yeah, 2053 is just too far. So I'm going to summarize it in three parts. And in our report, which is accessible via our website, it is there, and basically it's in three things. It's in leadership, it is in the strategy, and it is in the way of work. Okay. And let me dive deeper into what that means. In the leadership, it has to be driven from the top. You have to have your number one employee, maybe your CE, and together, along with other female leaderships, driving the fact that we need to get to parity. It has to be in the strategy. We must have a clear strategy that deals with diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is not enough that is maybe highlighted in your ESG strategy.
It's not a whitewash at the end of the process.
It has to be a clear strategy. I mean, there's a saying that what gets measured gets done.
Okay. Love it.
Let's put quotas, let's put what are we going to achieve when, and it has to be a concerted effort that businesses have to go to. Then the way of work. We need to make it comfortable for women. We need to make it comfortable for women to be able to take up those leadership roles. your psychological safetyness, your flexible working relationships at work. Those are some of, summarized in 3, makes it easier for women to take up the leadership positions and to be comfortable and be able to perform. Notwithstanding that has to be in place. We women as well need to be ready. We must have the skills. We must be competent to be able to perform in those roles. And undoubtedly, women can do it.
Yeah, no, competent and confident, as everyone in business needs to be. We've got all these online mentors preaching confidence and go and sell yourself. Easy when you can see yourself represented in 9 out of the 10 people above you. Not so much when you don't see a clear path. And we joke about representation as, again, being this nice to have add-on at the end, but it's vital. It's absolutely vital that a woman starting this journey sees it. So there's 2 big gateways for me. When often we lose that greatest asset when a woman unplugs to have children, then gets their parenting superpower of being able to put the collective in front of themselves, and then we keep them out of the fold. So that flexi ability to bring women back, I get that. But mentoring, that is the game changer. And all the uber successful businessmen that I know, they've had someone championing their cause. Yes. How do we get that right? Does it have to become mentoring programs? Does it have to be structures that offer mentoring? Because there just aren't enough female mentors to go around.
Yes, I think and organizations can foster that themselves. I mean, we can create programs where we foster and make sure that it is a structured approach. For example, there's a facet program now that's running. It's aimed at women and putting women in leadership positions. It's one way of educating, but also structured. And in those programs, you find that there's women who are already in leadership programs who would come in and mentor the ones that are up and coming. But again, I think I just want to hound on the fact that it is also up to the mentee to be hungry, to want to learn from their mentor. And the mentee has to drive that relationship so that we've got a clear objectives and you know what you want to achieve. Because, as mentors, we all navigate at these things in different manner and different ways. And your way might not necessarily be my way. But if you're a mentee and you get to explain to a mentor what you need, it becomes easier for you to be helped to navigate this 10 in 10s. By the way, they are 10 in 10s. It's not a 10 in 10s.
About 360 degrees to get back to where you were. And it does make a massive difference in the field because that mentoring goes up and down. We're finding often our older mentors are learning as much from the people coming up as the return journey down. I love that.
I feel like you're the perfect person to ask this, just for, for women watching right now, hearing what you're saying, you know the statistics, you've been in various different areas and fields within your profession. Any last words for those individuals that just feel like this is a big mountain and they just don't know where that first step is?
Yeah, I would say don't just look at the mountain, take that first step, right? That's very important. Take the first step. It is also okay to fail, as long as we fail forward and we fail and we're learning that we're learning from our failures, and that it is possible. As a woman, it is possible. You can do it. You just need to have that confidence, that faith, and go for it. Go for your goals. That's all I can say.
Well, the fact that you've not just mobilized yourself along this path and proven what you can do, but you've got one of the biggest companies in the world behind you, believing in what you do to such a degree that they're trying to propagate this everywhere they can. That, for me, is a massive, massive move in the right direction. So thank you for representing what you do. I think we're gonna have to bring you back maybe weekly for a bit of a motivation and a chat. The bottom line is there are opportunities. We just have to connect those dots. And so much of that passion, that drive needs to come from you. Don't wait for someone to give you your gap. Go and take it.